Hey guys, with the new update of version 1.3 and seatin quitting recently, I thought this would be the perfect time to make a video on what I think that is everything that's wrong with 7 Deadly Sins Origin, and before anybody says I'm hating, I'm not. I just want this game to be good. But right now it just feels annoying, unfair, or straight up unfinished. There's a lot of things I'm going to go over in this video. It took me a couple hours to put this together. I would really appreciate it if you can watch at least a few minutes, and then everybody that's watching all the way, let me know your thoughts in the comments. If there's enough likes and comments and whatever in this video, I can share this with the developers, and that would serve as a consensus. Maybe we'll have some issues addressed in the future, so I would really appreciate it if you can watch this video. Just leave it on the background. I'm going to go through one point at a time. You can agree, disagree, let me know again. So we're going to start with point number 1. This I hadn't originally made a video on, very short, 5-6 minutes, but I'm going to make it in this video. And so first issue is transparency. One thing, units kits should be revealed before the day of the update, or at least 2 days before. Major games do this, so Genshin Impact, Withering Waves, Endless Zone, whatever, right? These games all show off units before the update, and I'm sure we're going to get that with Merlin and Escanor, so we did get it with Escanor, but that's the major units, right? For Daisy and Clotho, we did not get that, and I think that's a big problem. Now, why is it a big problem? Because people that want to pull for a unit can't pull for either, kind of. Because if, let's say, someone really likes Escanor, but they're kind of in the position where they might need an ice or wind unit, they look at Clotho and then, they don't know what Clotho does, so do they pull on Escanor? What if Clotho's really good? Or what if Clotho's exactly what they need, right? And so that person does not pull Escanor, and then turns out Clotho's not that great, which, to be honest, the potential for she's not that great, and people now that skipped Escanor for maybe an ice and wind unit are left out because they couldn't get the unit they want. That's part of the transparency issue. And then another thing is, even with characters that they show off in streams, right? So Escanor, Merlin, every 6 weeks we're going to have streams and they're going to show off the characters. Again, they should release the kit like they do with 7 Deadly Sins Grand Cross and let us see the character's kit, and then we can decide that if we want to pull for the current character or the next one. This also helps people that want to spend money in the game, right? If you need just a few pulls to get a current unit and then you still want the next unit, then you're going to be more likely to spend for both of them because you know what they do. If you can't, then Escanor goes away, you're not spending because they're like, oh, what if the next character is really good? And then you save for the next character, like actual money, and then the next character comes, that player just does not spend. And then for whales as well, right? Let's say they want to max out Escanor, but then Clotho is really good, so they want to split some money up. But instead of, like, let's say $1,000 on just Escanor, they go like 500, 600, 700 on Escanor, and then they go 500, 600, 700 on Clotho. You're making more money off of them as well. So I just don't understand why this is not a thing, but I don't want to make each point too long. And then the second part of transparency is engraved sets. Engraved sets should be revealed as well before the day of the update. Like, we should know what the engraved sets for each weapon is before the update. I also don't understand why they have the engraved sets separate. So for Escanor, we don't have the sword and shield. For Daisy, we didn't have the wand, right, which is her third wind weapon. And then turns out, well, after she's gone, they pull out the engraved set and it's really good. Now, this is, I think, kind of scummy because you have a unit that is pretty good, but then this engraved set makes her even more broken, and they put it out after the update or after the unit has left, and now you're just artificially making people feel more fear of missing out because you're like, oh, what if this third engraved set is really good? Now, the same thing could happen with Clotho's ice setup. Right now, we're thinking it's not that great. Of course, she's a pretty good buffer, but the third engraved set could just make her absolutely busted, right? It could just give her dimensional awakening, which is, I think, from her ultimate. You can just get that from doing like normal attack or special attack. If you do that, then she's going to be really good. So it's not like they don't have these engraved sets made in the game. They have them, so why not just release it with the character that's coming? We're already at the point where multiple characters have third engraved sets, so it doesn't make any sense to hold it back until after the update, just so you can make people feel like they have to pull on these units because their third engraved set might be incredible, right? For Escanor's sword and shield, his base engraved set is already really good. I'm assuming the third one, when it comes out, is going to make him even better, which is good. I'll talk about his buffs and whatever later. But yeah, let us know what the engraved sets do before the update and give us all 3 engraved sets at once. So again, for example, with Merlin, that's coming up probably, give us Merlin's kit with all the details before the update and give us all the engraved sets and what they do, the details for that before the update. I'm sure nobody's going to disagree on this. The only way currently to get that is through leaks, and they're not very reliable, as we saw with Clotho and her weapons. Now, the second part is costume prices, okay? I understand costumes are completely optional, but $60 USD, so as expensive as it can get, basically. $60 US for one costume is just too much, especially when the costumes don't have custom attack animations and stuff. You have characters with unique animations and stuff like that, and of course the game is a lot simpler, but like there's no reason they can't give skins and weapons and stuff custom animations. I'm sure we're gonna get more skins for free in the future like we did with Escanor, but let's say Clotho skin is incredible, okay? I really like the skin, but do I want to pay $60 for the skin? And be for real, most people do not go in the banner for the other rewards. Bring the price down to like $40, maybe even, and if you want to keep the stuff in the banner, leave that. But I think $30 to $40 would be perfect for a skin like this, so every 3 weeks, if you want to get a skin for a character you want, you can just buy it. Now, I really don't want to buy it with $60. I don't know if this is something I'm going to address by the next update, even though her skin is amazing, but I think it's completely unjustified. And especially, like, there's going to be way fewer people that are going to want to pay $60 for a skin compared to people that want to pay 20, 25, 30 for a skin. And instead of maybe just 1 or 2 people paying for a skin that's $60, you could have 5 people pay for a skin that's $30, right? That's more likely. Again, monetization wise, like that's a better choice to do. More people get to enjoy the skin. More people buy skins for the characters they like. Like if Escanor has a cooler skin in the future and it's cheaper, more people would buy Escanor skins and they're going to be happier because they get the skin they want and they can play with it. So that's my qualm with the costume prices. And then we already went over this in one of my other videos, the last one, with the new gear system that we have with the changes of your gear substats and re-rolling everything like that. I think it's completely dog water, trash, hot dog, and the fact that they put down the guaranteed upgrades behind $100. Someone said that it might be coming in the future for free, that we can get those from events, which is fine, but still, I just don't see why you would introduce the item now as just a paid item instead of leaving it for when the item actually is available for everybody to get. And again, not only is it a premium price, it's $100. Like, why? I just, like, how did they justify this? Again, I'm not gonna buy that ever. It's just incredibly stupid. But yeah, if you craft one of these stitching needles and then the other one, your levels can all get lowered, which is completely missing the point of this new system. Why do we have a system that can lower your gear instead of either keeping it the same or upgrading it? If you have a level 2 and you can only get a level 3, even if it's a 10% rate, let's just hypothetical, right? That's still better than what we have now because you can only go up from there, right? And of course, there's no cancel feature, so if you re-roll it and it goes lower, you can't stick with your level again. It's just whatever you get, and you cannot go back. Terrible system. You don't get to choose what you already had. Level 2 passive, if you go down to level 1, you have a level 120 gear, you go down to level 111. Again, just terrible. At that point, most people are just better off making new sets because you need so much of the Transcendence essence. If that was cheaper, and you also need platinum, right? So you need so much stuff. But if it was cheaper, then people would be more likely to actually make the new gear sets. Well, make the new items for their gear sets. Now they just probably are going to make new gear sets for the characters they want again, which didn't change anything. A couple of improvements they can also make: let us lock substats of weapons, and that again only going up, no down. There should be increased rates towards higher levels. Right now it's only 10% for a level 3, but that beats the point of actually crafting these things, right? You would rather just craft a new set. That way you get new substats, new passive level, new gear level. So you should only have it. It's going to go towards higher level, even if it's difficult, right? I said this in my last video where even if it's like 2 times the materials you need to craft, but it's a guaranteed upgrade for your passive, I'll take that. Because you can focus in on 1 or 2 units that you really need, like Escanor or Meliodas, make them your DPS and upgrade them, and you're done. You can move on. But right now, you cannot move on from your units because there's just so much min-maxing for each gear piece because of the RNG. Also, for crafting the engraved sets, just remove the platinum from the magic plates. I don't understand because there's already a gate there. The brilliant or the legendary engraving seals, it's not like you can just get that every single day. You can only get like 1 or 2 a week, and then you have some events. So what's the point of having the magic plate be gated by platinum? You're just draining platinum for no reason. But I'm going to get into platinum coming up. If you're still watching at this point, again, let me know in the comments anything you're agreeing with or disagreeing with. Crafting materials for armor. So we have armor sets which you can now craft using the drops from the dungeons, which is still a very good addition, but I think instead of 50, it should be 30. Now, because it's going to be 30, you get around 5 on Abyss difficulty. I think it's 5 every Abyss difficulty. That's 6 runs, which is 120 keys. You have 4 gear pieces, and so you need 480 keys to guarantee 4 gear pieces that you need, which I think overall is a very good system. You have 500 keys, that's like 10 days, and within that amount of keys, which again is excluding everything, you have some weekly keys and all that lets you craft a guaranteed engraved set every week. And guess what? You get 1 brilliant engraving steel every week. So if you take into consideration the weekly keys, you get, I think, the 140. So you get 250, 750 keys a week just from dailies, and then 140, that's from the shop. So you have 490 keys. So if you want to get an engraved set, that's going to make it a lot easier compared to just 30 unique drops instead of needing to use 50 of the unique drops. I also do not like the spell bead system. There's only a limited amount of spell beads you can get from actually using your keys. So once you use up your keys, you're gated on the elemental spell beads, or I mean both the regular spell beads and the elemental spell beads, right? So why is it that we need platinum to make these things? It's completely arbitrary and makes no sense to have platinum in there. Like, I think I don't use that many keys, but I had around 70 spell beads and I didn't make them because again, each of them is 1 platinum. And with the current trend of how you use these spell beads, you cannot get what you want most of the time because you cannot lock a certain substat. I'll get into that in a second. But yeah, overall, I think the elemental spell bead and the regular spell bead system can be improved a lot by letting us lock a roll that you got. So let's say you got crit damage on a weapon, max crit damage and max crit chance. You want to lock those 2, and then you want to go for the other 2 to roll something else. That would be the perfect setup. That way you still have the RNG of all the different stats you can get, but once you get something, you can lock it and you can move on with your life. Now, unless you get really lucky, which is basically 4 stats you have to roll back to back to back that are perfect, you can never move on from a weapon, and farming them itself is just so tedious. You have to go all around the map every day, mine the stuff, gather the unique materials you need for that specific elemental bead, and then you can craft it. So what's the point of all of that? It's just like wasting our time, artificially increasing playtime, doesn't let us do what we actually want to do in the game, and just makes us go farm this stuff. And then again, speaking of the platinum gate that we have in the game, they should also take out platinum from crafting weapons, because you already are gated on the blueprints. If there's already gates in the game, there should just not be platinum use, right? I don't understand. Again, weapons don't need to be gated with platinum. The blueprints are already hard enough to get. There's no way to guarantee them. Instead of adding more nodes and making it a job to go around the map and collect platinum, just make it that you use platinum in less places. It's already bad enough to go to like 6 different places every single day collecting the platinum, and then just to run out within like a day. So continuing, this is about Escanor. So I think Escanor is kind of weak. He's a very good unit, but obviously he's not better than Meliodas. Obviously Meliodas again is a darkness unit. He pairs with basically anybody that can trigger a burst. Escanor is more of a solo unit. He can get a lot more done by himself, but I think him being one of the strongest characters in the verse was very underwhelming. Even at potential 4, I think he should have been a stronger unit. I would like to see some buffs. I mean, the holy kit and the axe, if they got some buffs, that would be nice. Of course, if you have a higher level potential Escanor, you do his ultimate, it's basically a nuke. But for the lower level people, most of us are not going to be optimized enough to actually nuke somebody with the ultimate. And the skills themselves should be fun to play, right? With the axe, the special charge of attack should be actually, in my opinion, would be pretty good, right? Or very good, but that's how it should be with Escanor, that when you do the special attack, you do 15% of the enemy's HP as additional damage. That would make him really good and viable for a very long time, unless they add additional mechanics. But again, that's how it should be. The sins should be very good, usable for a very long time. And so again, the sword and shield kit is obviously going to get buffed when we have the new engraved set coming next update. I would like to see some buffs to the axe and the holy setup. Additionally, I would like to see some buffs to weapons. The Glutenous series is not very good, okay? Escanor's axe is very good because you get fire damage. Meliodas' longsword could use some buffs because again, we can see that people are doing more damage with the Black Flame series weapons than the Glutenous series, which doesn't make sense because Glutenous is unique. You can only craft one of each basically every update. Daisy's was pretty good for sword and shield, adds a lot of damage. And Clotho's is horrible. You don't even get a second passive with Clotho's Rapier, which again, I don't like. I think every Glutenous series should have a second passive at level 3. That gives people incentives to pull a unit and go in on their weapon, and if their unit feels strong, they're more likely to keep playing. Again, why is there not a second level passive on the Rapier for Clotho? Who knows? And then moving on, we have combat. Now, certain parts of combat I feel are a little bit clunky. Dodging, getting stuck on enemies, skills registering from certain distances, auto lock pulling you towards a certain direction here and there, not properly pulling you, and then sometimes auto lock just switching without you switching it. So I don't switch it in the Grey Demon fight, or I mean the Time Space Junction floor 2, but it will switch from the Red Demon to the Grey Demon even though I'm targeted on the Red Demon. So obviously these are not fun to play with, right? I think a lot of animations can be smoothed out as well to improve the overall experience of combat, where you switch in, do your skills, switch out. That whole experience I think could be smoothed out a little bit. And then the buff skills and all that stuff, I think there's a very heavy emphasis on just how many buffs and debuffs you can stack, which is of course is fine, it's good, but I'm sure some of us can agree that it's a lot. Now as we go deeper into the game, I'm sure we're going to need more teams, so having different elements buffers and debuffers is going to be a good thing for the game, but you spend more time buffing and debuffing than you actually do damage, which again, I don't know, it's kind of funny. It's just a personal opinion thing. Next thing is optimization. I know the developers have said the optimizations are coming by July, and most of the stuff that they want to fix should be fixed by July. And I'm hoping that's the case, okay? That's something I'm giving them grace on and trusting their word. But even then, currently optimization just feels very slow because I play on PS5 and I play on mobile. PS5 is almost always overheating somehow. If you go into the character menu, stay there too long. If you go in the teams menu, you stay there too long. Especially the character menu and like inside the characters. If you want to change their weapons, gear, and all that stuff, PS5 starts overheating, which makes no sense. First it was the map, now it's this. And then on mobile, I'm sure most of you guys play on mobile, they're adding that combat help system. I don't know if they already had it at this update, but they're adding that in the future, making it easier for people to play the game, which I think I like. But still, the game overall should be able to run medium graphics for the most part on 60 frames without lagging, and especially if you're in combat. When you play it on mobile and you do combat, it just starts lagging as soon as you start using skills. So I just don't think it's a very fun experience. So again, optimization's big issue to focus on. Neverness to Everness absolutely hammered optimization like it's like black magic. I don't even know how they did it. I played on completely max graphics on my iPad and I barely had any frame drops. It went like from 60 FPS to maybe 55-ish. So you can see like optimization keeps people around, right? And especially mobile, because that's the majority of the player base growth factor. Like that's where most people are going to be playing, unless they just ditch mobile and go with PC and console. But again, I don't know. The game is going to be coming to other consoles in the future, like Xbox and Nintendo and stuff, probably. That's what they said, but they want to fix everything up here on these current consoles and then think about that. And then I'm sure one thing that we all hate is the repetitive mining. What is the point of the auto mine pet? It makes no sense. You go in and you ride over to the same place to mine the materials you need. And this is not sustainable for the length of the game's lifetime, or however long the game is going to last. This is not going to be sustainable for most people. Like, I don't even like farming platinum, but I go ahead and do it anyway. This is not something you want people to feel. Like Cian said, just don't look forward to doing that every single day. So my solution would be make it so once you craft the auto mine pet, it can just go mine for you and it'll show up in your inventory. It doesn't even have to literally go mine, but the system is going to think that these materials are being mined and they're going to show up in your inventory. Again, like platinum, ruby, sapphire, whatever you want to farm. Once you craft the auto mine pet, then let it just do its thing and we never have to worry about farming or mining if we don't want to. If some people want to just spend time on the game and go mine stuff, they can do that. Let them do that. But again, don't force everybody else to go ahead and farm the same thing as well. If they're not going to do that, then at least make it weekly. So increase the drop rewards instead of 2 platinum, like maybe 10 platinum each. And then you go farm it over the course of the week, whatever you need. And then that way you can farm each different ore every single week and you're good. Like that is still a good solution in my opinion, if they want to do that. And in the same vein, I want to talk about gathering materials for crafting things. There's a lot of stuff you have to craft in this game, and I think I would like to see something made it easier to actually gather those materials. Now, this is something that the developers kind of hinted at, winked, not really that they confirmed it, but we should get a pet dispatch or expedition system. So if you have a lot of pets, you can send them out to farm a specific item. So let's say the sunflower that was added to the new region, you send out a pet. It will collect all the sunflower over like 8 hours, 12 hours, however long it is. Then that's something you can set up every day. Even if you log in every day, then and that's something you don't have to do and will be done for you. So that's something I would like to see if possible, but let's see what they actually do with that. Because again, do I really want to farm the flowers for the pets every single day? You don't have to. Again, I know some people are going to be like, you don't have to do this, but still, to progress with the game, these are things that you should do. So I think we're probably 25 or so minutes in. Again, if you're not subscribed, please consider subscribing. I'm trying to get to 1,000 and I really appreciate your help. I'm sure you're enjoying my opinion so far if you're still here. Moving on, we have events. So currently, I think the events are very lackluster. They're not that deep. You have just spending events, so spend keys, make gear, upgrade gear. Like these are things that you do normally. I understand that they're giving rewards to us. That's great. I like rewards. Everybody likes rewards, but these are not distinct events. These are like band-aids. They throw it on each update, and if you just play normally or regularly, you can just get these items or rewards without even doing anything. So how's it an event? It's just basically just giving us rewards, if that makes sense. Now you do have to play every day to get these rewards and stuff, but with the new update, I'm looking forward to the new dungeon, new boss, a little bit of new story, right? I think that's going to be a lot of fun, and so I don't want to harp too much on this point. But going back one point with the pets, I think the pet system kind of sucks right now, especially capturing them. They're very artificially low rates for no reason, which makes me just not want to do this anymore or at all. I just haven't caught pets. I've been farming the materials you need to make the potions, but I have not went out of my way to actually capture pets. Again, I just think it's very much of a chore to actually do this rather than something enjoyable. And maybe this is coming in the future, who knows, but I still don't understand why we don't have a way to craft legendary potions for capturing pets. And the legendary potions themselves kind of just suck, because what's the point of them if the pets are going to have lowered resistance to that as well? Like if it had an 80% capture rate based off its rarity, that just because it's legendary it'll be 80% regardless of the pet's resistance, that would make the item really good. But right now it's just underwhelming. You have 15% chance, 10% chance, or 20% chance with the legendary, which again, I don't think it's fun for the average player. Of course, for people that like collecting, I'm sure they're going to go out of their way and have gone out of their way to go collect these pets, but I don't think it's fun for the majority of players that play this game. Now, moving on to keys and summoning, let's do the summoning economy first. Now, I don't know for sure all the details of the summoning economy. Some people say you can get around 80 to 120 pulls, I think, every 2 months. Some people are saying it's lower. From my current observation, we have events that give you around 1,000 and stuff. You have time space junction, you have all the stages, you have the engraved gear set. So for now there's enough to probably get the stuff you need, so get enough star fragments, but there is not enough, in my opinion, a recurring way to get star fragments. So time space junctions are also like one time for now. You have until August to do these and you get the rewards. The engraved sets are basically one time as well. So if you look at daily, what's guaranteed, you have the 120 star fragments daily mission and then the 400 from your Book of Stars weekly, so you get around 1,200 per week guaranteed outside of events and stages and all that stuff. So I think they should upgrade that to around 2,000, maybe 2,500. That would probably make things a lot better for both free-to-play, light spenders, and whales, because everybody that has more pulls, they're just more incentivized to stay and play the game. And you make it daily or weekly, then everybody's playing every day and weekly. They're encouraged to actually play the game, log in, do their stuff. And hey, look, I got almost a summon. I'm not going to compare this game to bigger games at all, honestly, because those games are already big, so they can afford to be a little bit stingy. But Seven Deadly Sins is nowhere near their levels, so they have to be a little bit generous with the rewards to keep growing, right? Why would people pick this game over Withering Waves, Genshin Impact, and other major games, right? This IP can only drag people in for so long. The quality of the game has to match up to that level of open world RPGs. I think there's also 2 additional changes that they should make. One is going to be making the banners 4 weeks instead of 3 weeks. I think every update being 4 weeks would be overall a good thing, unless they just increase the rewards again. If they increase the rewards for each banner or patch, then keep it 3 weeks, I guess, because people are going to complain that each update is too long, there's not enough content. So I can see that. Personally, I wouldn't really mind if I play the game less. I don't care that much because I have other stuff to do. But yeah, just increase the overall summons. Let us get more summons. Make it so if people skip 1 unit and don't spend any of their star fragments, they can get pretty dang close to getting their 2nd unit. So every 2 patches, they should give out around 100 to 120 pulls worth. And then if it's right under 100, Of course, again, people that are even free to play would consider spending money, and oh, once you hook them, you hook them. All right, I'm taking that moral side on this because I want them to succeed, which is like, let's say you're a free to play player, right? And you're a 0 out of 120 for Merlin. You have 100 summons. This is just a banner. It's about to go away. You go in 100, and guess what? You need 20 more, and you just don't have anywhere you can get 20 from. What do? You spend money? Or you're like, oh, I spent money. I'll probably do some more spending in the future. So that's how people get hooked into video games or gacha games, but I'm just saying, like, this would still help the game, but also help people get units that they want. If I skip Clotho, I should be able to get Merlin. If I skip Elizabeth, I should be able to get the next unit. So something like that. The key economy, I don't know. Again, I think some of the stuff I addressed before would kind of play into the key economy because most of the time you're farming keys for gear and then maybe some gold. But speaking of gold, we shouldn't need gold to craft engraved sets either. So just take that out, 200,000 of gold for no reason. So take that out. But yeah, keys, I don't necessarily know if more keys is going to be helpful. Like if 100 keys would really change anything, because again, the gear system and everything is kind of messed up. Rather than just giving us more keys, they should fix those systems and then focus on how can we balance the key economy to keep people more satisfied playing the game instead of just dumping more keys on them so they do the same thing over and over again without satisfaction. Like, do you really want to be doing the same dungeon 5-10 times a day, but you're not satisfied doing them? You're not having fun doing them? I'm assuming not. So that's my two takes on the key economy. I'm sure somebody has more details or thoughts about that. All right, we're trying to get to 1,000 as fast as we can. Consider subscribing. I have a Discord server. It's going to be in the description if you want to join. If you're new to my channel and you made it all the way to the end, I have a playlist with a lot of my other videos if you want to go in here and take a look of something that could help you. And if you made it all the way to the end, comment 10 out of 10 video, because obviously this was a 10 out of 10. Nobody can disagree with anything that I said, but I will see you guys in my next video. Thank you again.